Parents, if you have ever wondered, am I pushing too hard or not hard enough? You're not alone. Many parents of teens with FND struggle with this thing all the time. And I would say at this point, this question is arguably the most common question I get from parents all the time during my coaching call inside my online coaching program, Teen FND Academy. So today in this video, I am going to share exactly what I tell to those parents to balance their teens make real progress rather than you constantly pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling, feeling like you are stuck. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and the founder of Teen FND Academy, which is an online coaching program to help teens with FND and their parents like you to literally resolve the condition so you get your life back and your child feels like normal again. In this program, I help families understand this fine line between supporting and enabling their teen's condition. Which, by the way, if you're liking this video and if you want to know more about it, make sure to hit the subscribe button and then hit the like button so then I get spread this awareness about teen FND, which is going to ultimately help you and your teen get better. So let's dive in. So here's the thing. I do see all the time the two most common mistakes the parents make. And again, you don't know what you don't know, right? So, but I'm just going to tell you, either parents push really too hard and what happens is teens shut down or get super upset, feel pressured, and symptoms flare up. Not good. And then the parents are like, oh my gosh, I pushed too much. That was a little too much. So I'm just going to let go. I'm just going to let go maybe a little too much. Then what happens is that teens tend to avoid challenges and then their FND gets worse. And not only that, you parents also feel powerless and helpless. Either way, not a good idea. So there is always this fine balance between the supporting and enabling. So I'm going to give you the actual key to solving this problem. The key is literally guided independence. And so technically it's called strategic nudges while building resilience. Okay, that sounds really fancy. So I'm just going to break it down. And this is exactly what I teach to my parents. These are the things you kind of have to be prepared. Therefore, you have to have a, what I would call a planning conversation with your teen on a good day, as opposed to right in the middle of a heated conversation. Like you feel frustrated because your teen is not doing stuff that they're supposed to be doing, or continue to feel sick and not making progress, and whatever the situation is, you feel frustrated and then you have this heated conversation. I can't do this anymore. I can't just push too hard, and then you don't feel good. And if I let go too much, then you're all day just hanging out or being in bed all day long, and this is not like how the life is going to go. So this is not the kind of conversation you have to have in that moment. Okay, so pick a good day for you and your team and have a planning conversation. And this is exactly how you're supporting as opposed to enabling. So hear me out. Number one, when you have this conversation, you can call it whatever you want. So I'm just going to call it a planning conversation. Number one, when you have this planning conversation, what you want to do is you would like to set a clear expectation with baby steps. So here's what it looks like. If your child is saying, well, I can't do homework, but I can do whatever I want because I don't have control over FND and I feel miserable already, so don't tell me what to do. I will tell you, I hear this all the time from so many parents. What I tell them and then everyone who has this issue, that isn't going to fly for a long distance, right? Because this isn't sustainable and you know this already. So instead of, I cannot do homework if your child is saying that, or whatever X, like I cannot do X, that generally equals to I cannot do anything. So their minimum is a 0. So the clear expectation means that now moving forward, the starting point is not a 0 anymore. The starting point is a minimum expectation. So it can be 5 minutes of doing homework or 5 minutes of reading or 10 minutes of this or one assignment, whatever it is. The key is you're not having a 0 day anymore. That is the clear line that you have to draw by presenting sort of like as a matter of fact, this is what it is. But you don't have to make that decision whether it's a 5 minutes or 10 minutes or one homework. This is a conversation that you and your child can have and then come up with. This is why you're not telling your child what to do. It's more like you and the child against this thing that you guys are dealing with. So you're working as a team. And so there is that. However, many parents also get confused. Okay, we set up this bare minimum expectation and then it's been like 2 months. Now what? Like, oh, that's a little too long, right? So the thing is that do not stay at the bare minimum. So in this conversation, you want to have this like kind of rough draft timeline, if you will. Easier one is every week with the goal of increasing the level each week. Now, sometimes you start with week 1 of this bare minimum expectation, and the next week can be another level, or the week 2 might be on the same level, depending on how debilitated your child is, basically. However, the goal is for you and your teen to start somewhere and then gradually kind of going up the level. So that's the number one conversation with the clear expectation with baby steps, where you can be a leader in supporting instead of enabling, is that you can also set the expectation. This is not working. We cannot have this 0 day anymore. Therefore, we have to come up with the minimum expectation. You can say that. And then what that minimum expectation can be depends on you and your child. Number 2, once you discuss and agreed upon whatever the contract or the planning conversation with minimum expectation, then you have to be ready to follow through that expectation. Even though you know you're seeing your child have either flare-ups or suffer or, I don't know, throw a tantrum or whatever it is, not good mood, you have to be able to follow through along your teen. If you're basically saying, I can't see my child being stressed out, I can't see my child being in pain, so you can be in bed all day. Then you're basically telling the child that's how it's going to be. And then you're guaranteeing yourself and then your teen that is the vortex you're going to be staying at forever and ever. So again, you also have to make a commitment to follow through. Whatever you guys decide, especially in the beginning, your child needs to have or can have a little bit of push, sort of like a carrot, right? So it's okay to add some sort of reward so the teen can earn towards that carrot, whatever that is. Again, this is something that I always encourage the parents and teens to have a conversation. I always like to start with the teen having the list of rewards that they want, and then the parents can set the parameter. So whether it's something they can follow through, or maybe this is somewhat of a big reward so we can have as a long-term goal. Like we're going to collect the points, and then once we accumulate certain points, then we can earn this big reward kind of thing. So whatever it is, have a conversation, and it might be conversation number 2, number 3, but that's okay. That is a good place to start. And then you are committing yourself to follow through that expectation, okay? And the simple thing is, if your child is not able to follow through that expectation, then the consequence is they don't get the reward, whatever they said they wanted to get. So the more kind of enticing that reward is, it's a little bit easier for the teens to kind of come out of that, maybe fear or uncertainty or facing through potential flare-ups, because that can happen. And I always call it the adjustment period rather than setback, because there is this thing called extinction burst. So when you're doing something different, then your brain wants to put out the fight, like, no, I don't want to change, because change can be scary, right? Whether it's consciously or unconsciously. Therefore, the symptom flare-up almost always guaranteed to happen. But as long as you're doing something different in a right way, then keep going. It is a good sign because your child is doing something good for themselves. That means they're literally manually rewiring the connection between their brain and the body. So along with that, the key to success is this: FND recovery is never ever linear. It's the adjustment period. It's almost like a stock, going up and down, up and down. So be flexible. It's not all or nothing. You will likely to have to course correct many times, fine tune, before you find a sort of a sweet spot. And even if you've thought that you found the sweet spot, it might change. It's very much a living document, right? So it's be okay to be flexible. And then for you parents, especially, check your own mindset. What does that mean? Do you also have this black and white, all or nothing tendency of thinking? Are you also feeling hopeless? Are you feeling any doubt? Are you feeling any fear about doing something different, kind of venturing out? If so, that's okay. Acknowledge them, because they are pretty normal reactions to these crazy situations you've never dealt with, which is teen FND. And I tell this to parents all the time when they ask, what can we do to help? What can we do to encourage my child? I'll say this: be the model, lead by example. Think of something that you are either uncertain or afraid of starting or doing, like recently these days, okay? Not like when I was, your age, kind of thing. No, like a real time, thing, challenge. And then set a minimum expectation for yourself and then start doing the thing, okay? So you're basically doing and showing, this is what I'm dealing with, this is how I'm dealing with, rather than telling your child, here's what to do. Because you guys are kind of doing things in parallel. And what's happening is then you're being an influencer, and this is the most effective way of supporting your teen rather than either enabling or telling or forcing your teen to do something that they may or may not be able to do right away. Literally, this is exactly what I teach inside of Teen FND Academy. And if you like personal approach like this and then guidance, so then I am in your corner every step of the way, then you might be ready to join my program. Click the link below to schedule a call to talk to me and then see if you qualify for the program. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.